Welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willis, your host. Look, let me tell you something. Harris County, the bellwether of the country, not just of Texas, it's the most important county in this country, and its leadership matters. And over the last 4 days, Harris County has chosen a new chairperson, new chairman for the Harris County Democratic Party, and we are happy to have today the one and only Odus Evbagharu. Did I get that correctly?
Evbagharu, yeah.
Say it for me again.
Evbagharu.
Evbagharu. Okay, yeah, so I got it. Is Odus Evbagharu. Odus, welcome to Politics Done Right. How are you doing today?
Good. Thank you so much, Egberto, for having me. Thank you for being a precinct chair and volunteering and doing what you do for us as well too. I do want to acknowledge that because anybody who's willing to do that for the cause, I'm always excited and passionate about. So thank you for that too, and thank you for having me on.
Well, look, we're happy to have you, and not only are we happy to have you, we are happy to have young people engaging in the body politic, because the truth of the matter, Chairman, is that you are the future of not only the Democratic Party, but you are the future of the country. So my first question to you is, how does it feel being this young dude that is now the leader of the Democratic Party in I think the second or third largest county in the country?
Yeah, third largest county. And if I remember correctly, everyone always says if we were a state, we'd be the 25th largest state in the country. So it's a tremendous honor. And like I said, I have to thank the precinct chairs for electing me this past Sunday and entrusting me with the vision of the party and really entrusting us, because it's going to take all of us. It's going to take work. And so I'm just ready to hit the ground running. That's what I'm excited about, is the work. It's always going to be about the work. It's never going to be about anything else. Doing these interviews with you is great, and other media folks, but it'll mean better in November 2022 when we up the margins in Harris County and we're at the forefront of flipping Texas and getting a statewide seat for a Democrat for the first time since the 90s.
Well, let me tell you, Odus, you didn't just win the seat. You won the seat because of your deeds. You won the seat because you've shown your ability to communicate across all platforms. You've shown your ability to communicate across all people, and you've actually served in the Texas legislature as one of the biggest confidants. And I think you were the chairperson for whose campaign?
John Rosenthal. I got to run his campaign twice, and then I also ran the coordinated campaign in 2018 in Harris County, where we flipped all the judicial seats, we flipped county commissioner's court, and we flipped two state house seats, that's allowed me to be the chief of staff for State Representative John Rosenthal out of Northwest Harris County.
Well, interestingly, I think that's what I said. Deeds is your deeds what spoke to the people who elected you. And I think it's important to also note that we don't only have to repeat 2018. We have to supersede 2018 because a lot of stuff that's happened in the legislature in Texas. Tell us a little bit about it, and tell us also within the context of the rest of the country, because like I said, Harris County is a bellwether county throughout the country.
Right. Progress starts here. Progress starts here in Harris County. We know that if we drive up the margins, if we make Harris County more blue, it's going to flip Texas. And so goes Texas, so goes the country. So it starts in Texas, it starts in Harris County, but we also have to uplift our region, right? We've got to help out our neighbors in Montgomery County, in Brazoria County, in Galveston, in Fort Bend, in Waller. It's got to take a team effort. We have to build coalitions. That's how we're going to win. That's how we're going to flip Texas. Southeast Texas, the region of Southeast Texas, has to be at the forefront of flipping Texas. And it's more evident than ever. And I tell people all the time, there's only a few of us in the building who work the state side and work campaigns. If you work campaigns in 2020 and you were in that building in Austin, you really felt the losses in 2020. Not having the majority in the state house to block things like permitless carry, to block things like an all-out abortion ban, then dealing with pretty much criminalizing homelessness instead of actually addressing issues like affordable housing, healthcare, economy, and jobs. We did nothing about a grid that saw so many people die during the freeze, and we're about to hit the hottest days of summer we've ever seen, probably in Houston locally. So we did all these things that didn't help anyone. It was all about skirting the rules. If you paid attention to the Senate chamber, Dan Patrick has no respect for it. And then it's all about, defunding staff, right? The House Democratic Caucus walks out on a voter suppression bill that would have hurt so many communities and disenfranchised so many communities even more. And the Democrats saved democracy. They, in fact, saved the Republicans, who admitted themselves there was bad provisions in SB 7. What does the governor do to save himself from embarrassment and save the Republican Party from embarrassment? He doesn't thank the Democratic Party. He defunds the legislative staff. I mean, this is what we're going up against. We've got to fight. And there's a reason why I put my name in the fray, because we've got to fight. We have to. And we've got to talk about people. We've got to talk about precincts. We've got to talk about policy. That's what we have to do in order to win. And I'm worked up already this morning thinking about the legislature, because these folks are going back on July 8th, not to talk about the grid, not to shore up the grid, not to secure it, not to talk about COVID relief that so many people still need, not to force the GLO to make sure that they're giving money to Harris County, who's still dealing with the after effects of Harvey. What we're going back to go do is we're going to go mess around again with transgender kids. We're going to go there and suppress people's vote. We're going to talk about social media bans if we don't agree, because people are kicking people off of just lying on social media and spreading out more misinformation. We're going to be probably talking about taxpayer-funded lobbying for cities and counties who have to go defend themselves in Austin. When people can't go up there themselves, they have to represent these people. So these people, all they want to do is talk about everything but the real issues that impact your life. And that's what we're going to do as a Democratic Party. We're going to talk about it, and we're going to talk about the progressive way of doing it as well.
That is the energy that I've always been hoping we would have, not only in Harris County, but throughout the Democratic Party and the progressive wing throughout the country. Now, let me say one thing. Here in Texas, the Affordable Care Act is, I think, over 12 years old now.
Yeah.
And in Texas, we are the state with the least amount of people, the most uninsured people in the entire country. The Affordable Care Act offered something known as a Medicaid expansion to the Affordable Care Act, which we are yet to pass, which means that Republican policy, in effect, is causing the death of many Texans as we speak today. One of the things that I've always been concerned about, and I don't know, as the leader of our party, as a person who has to build coalition, and of a coalition that doesn't necessarily want to be as aggressive that it needs to be, I want to know, how are you going to handle, well, progressives like myself will simply come out and tell the truth. Republicans in our legislature or legislative leaders are effecting the murder of citizens in this country, of Texans. I know you can't quite say it like that. How are you going to push that we get more aggressive in the ills caused by the Republican legislature, Republican politicians that are materially affecting not only Democrats, but all of their Republican voters?
No, and that's a great question. Number one, we have to be visible. We must be in front of the cameras. We must be articulating a clear message that directly impacts people's lives. And that talks about one of the foundations that I had, one of the platforms that I had for my campaign was policy. Campaigning must meet governing. In order for us to be very effective, it has to. We've got to engage our elected officials in DC and Austin, county commissioners court, school board, city hall. That's how we're going to get stuff done. It has to happen. It can't just be about campaigning. We must impact policy. I say this all the time, and and I love how you talked about the Republicans. If you look at rural Republicans, go look at their voting history inside that building when it comes to Medicaid expansion, just what you're talking about. Hospitals are closing in their districts. People are dying with no insurance, but they continually vote against expanding Medicaid. That's because it's not good enough to just rally and protest. We must do those things, don't get me wrong. We've got to be in that building. We have to apply consistent pressure on our elected leaders. We have got to be passionate. We've got to fight. And we've also got to talk about issues that directly impact people's lives. Where have we haven't been talking about the economy and jobs, Berta. In fact, if you look at Republican-led legislatures in states that are red, all of a sudden now they're passing referendums that favor $15 minimum wage. That's not a Republican talking point.
Right.
If you look at some of these states like Oklahoma, they put a referendum to expand Medicaid. That's not a Republican talking point. If you look at the state legislature now, you see some of these Republicans now want to legalize marijuana. Last time I checked, that's not a Republican talking point. Oh, by the way, they also want to tackle criminal justice reform. That's not a Republican talking point. Progressive policies work. What we have to do is we have to do a better job of articulating it and making sure that we aren't playing defense, we're playing offense. We won't be playing defense. I've made that promise to everyone. There's no playing defense in this office. We are going to play offense. I only know one speed, and that's go. There's too many people's lives that are being disenfranchised, marginalized, folks who don't get a seat at the table, who are voiceless. We're going to change that. We're going to change that. We're going to be aggressive about it.
Now, Democrats must compromise because of the coalition that we have. And some of the coalitions that we have do have a very moderate, to put it bluntly, a very moderate upper funding class.
Yeah.
How are you going to present yourself as that glue that allows those people to learn and see that progressive values also favor them? Because in my humble opinion, and it's just my opinion, I feel that a lot of, let's say, our more wealthy Democrats don't quite get that. In fact, to some extent, they are still under they still believe in some of the policies of Reaganomics. Your thoughts?
Yeah, so that's another big part of my platform, right? It's people. It's building coalitions around what I call the DMV, the disenfranchised, marginalized, and voiceless. When we do that, we all win. Building from the bottom up is how we win. It's a beautiful thing to see. Trickle down anything has never worked and never will work. We need to get rid of that state of mind. And so what we have to do is when we go talk to quote unquote the establishment or other folks who've been longtime Democrats, we have to talk to them and say, hey, look, we all got to come to a table and sit down and listen. We must listen to each other. And I know, again, I might get in trouble for saying this, but we, just like you said, it's about telling the truth. That's what people want. When we tell people the truth, they'll listen and they'll rock with you. But I look at like defund the police, right? There's a defund the police part of our party, and there's a non-defund the police part of our party. Could we use a better phrase than defund the police? Sure, absolutely, right? We could do that. But guess what though, Alberto? You know what Joe Biden did when he got elected president and he took the oath? He terminated private prison contracts with the Department of Justice.
Right.
You know why that happened? Because of the defund the police movement.
Right.
What we've got to do as the Democratic Party is that we got to remember the North Star that we're trying to get to, we're all trying to get there. We all believe in the same thing. Because the defund the police folks and the non-defund the police folks, you know what they're trying to do? None of them want to get harassed by police. None of them want to get killed unarmed. Well, killed, period, right? No one wants to get harassed by police. No one wants them to get away with abuse of power. I don't care if you're for defund the police or not defund the police. We all agree on that. So it's about getting back to the basics and talking about the meat of the substance and not just worried about a 3-word phrase that caught on. And it caught on. And sometimes that happens. It'll catch on. But what we got to get back to is focusing on the real issues, right? How can we make police more accountable? We all want that across the board. Republicans, Democrats, Independents. We all want that. So it's different ways of making sure that we are articulating our message very well, but we are coming to the table and we're listening to each other. And we have to lead by example. And that's what I have to do as well, too. I can't sit here and think that I'm a know-it-all. I cannot do that. When constituents come to us, we have to listen, sit down and listen, have an open and honest conversation. We're not going to please everybody, but what we can do is say, you know what, here's an opportunity here. Here's an opportunity here. Here's another opportunity that we can come together. There's opportunities everywhere for us to come together. It's not just the one.
Odus, what would you have liked me to ask you, or what do you want to tell our audience that I didn't ask you or that you want to say?
We're going to win. We're going to win. You know, Joe Biden lost the state by 6 points. We barely missed the majority on the state house by 23,000 votes. We're going to win. We need people engaged. We need people to sign up, to volunteer. We need people to give, donate. We can't win campaigns without money. Become a sustaining member. Visit harrisdemocrats.org. Get plugged in. Get plugged in. The time is now. No longer do we have next. We got now. So we're going to win. We're going to win. We're going to have a comprehensive plan. We're going to make sure that we're electing Democrats up and down the ballot in Harris County. We're going to make Harris County go even more blue, and better believe we're going to be at the forefront in making sure that Texas flips, because as Texas goes, so goes the country.
The Attorney General of Texas, Ken Paxton, said that he prevented Trump from losing Texas by not allowing 600,000 votes out of Harris County that would have flipped the election. That tells you something. Odus Evbagharu.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so kindly for having been on Politics Done Right, the new chairperson, the new chairman of the Harris County Democratic Party.
Thank you so much, Egberto. I'll see you soon.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.